Yeah, back in the field with the track stars, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Was good.
All right, this episode is sponsored by fruitoverphonics.com. I got on a new shirt today. I got on the Worthy shirt. You can see the back. Worthy. And then Plain James got on the Changed by Yahweh. You had mentioned earlier that you've used this type of shirt before.
Oh, yeah, the material, man, is dope. Actually, they improved on the material. So when I felt the custom, you know what I'm saying, a little stitching and all that kind of stuff, I was like, it's pretty good quality shirt.
It's not easy to sweat through, so I like that.
Yeah.
I was noticing that, so that's dope. And then also, shout out to Tyler J Music, man. He just released a song called God's Hands, featuring 1K Few and Big Breeze. He sent it to me, man, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really dope vibe. They even got a music video. I just put it up on Trackstarz.com, so go check that out.
Man, we got very special guests. If you are an OG Trackstars fan, you've been with us for a while, you may remember Soul Candy. Candace in the building. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Those Trayvon Martin days were rocky back in the day.
She just reminded me we go back 15 years.
Yeah.
A long time. God is faithful, right?
Yes.
I still look like I did 15 years ago. Holy Spirit preserved all things and through all things, okay? So that's the blessing, and we all still here. That's the blessing of that. With kids. We ain't had kids
none
on
of
the
that.
years ago.
None of that.
Not four.
I know.
She's the owner of several businesses, Mango Tree,
Yes.
Rich Productions,
Yes.
a bunch of things. So
yes.
thank you for coming.
Oh, it's an honor. I love y'all. I'm excited to be here. Thank y'all for having me.
She gives us a lot of feedback and a lot of suggestions behind the scenes, so it's helped the show out a lot. We got Shania in the building. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
We got Miracle in the building.
Miracle.
What's up?
Miracle, do your commercial real quick. I'm just kidding.
And of course, Plain James is back from his tour stop. How you doing, man?
Man, I can't complain, man. Get old, that's about it, man.
No problems this time?
We ain't here lamenting back problems and all kinds of old people problems this morning. Ryan, you are back this week, man. How was your birthday?
Yeah, man. It was cool, man. We took the kids to Legoland in Florida, had a good time, celebrated my birthday, celebrated my wife's birthday. She got me some really cool gifts that you guys will see in the studio. She got me a plaque for selling the first syndicator solution program. That's the program that shows radio shows how to syndicate their programming, how we did it to over 200 plus outlets. And then she also gave me a plaque for the induction into the CHH Hall of Fame. So my wife gave me some really special gifts. Shout out to her. I love you. I appreciate you so much. And my kids, they're just amazing. So yeah, great week.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. Jeremiah, how are you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Just some stuff dealing with it, but it's all good. God is good.
Yeah, man. Jeremiah is an awesome producer, man. He found some awesome clips. We, if you know, we do our meetings on Wednesday nights, and we kind of brainstorm all the different things. And we were struggling a little bit this week, finding topics. But then, I mean, Shania, Jeremiah,
they just flowed in.
Rustlin hit us with some awesome topics. Yeah, so it just flooded. There, we got an awesome team, man. Awesome team. So, of course, the big thing this week was the debate.
Say who?
Did y'all see it?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't watch it.
yeah.
I saw moments of it, but
I watched the whole thing. I had no choice.
you had no choice.
I was driving back, and I was just like, let me just listen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys know Nick Jones. He's a really, really big Christian YouTuber in our space. And he had this reaction. I wanted you guys to see what
I just watched the whole debate. I think I don't even want to vote. It's kind of what I'm feeling like. I don't. For what? For what? For what? I'm just going to pray. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to spend time with Jesus. Because just keep it real, they both suck. And I'm not even like, if I had to vote, if somebody put a gun to my head and said, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I would say Trump, because there's no way I could vote for Biden ever. it's not happening. But for me to really go out of my house, get in my car, drive to the site to go vote, I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I'm just gonna be rocking with Jesus. I'm gonna watch it unfold. I'm gonna be chilling with Jesus because that was ridiculous.
All right. So, what did you think about what Nick Jones said?
Ryan, you know how this works.
I'm trying not to look at Sean. So I get where he's coming from. I think because I watched this whole debate and I listened to both sides and I had to like just deal with it, I realized that, you know, God is going to use who he uses and he's going to allow who he allows. And that's what we have to subscribe to. And we'll be okay. We'll be okay because he's already overcome the world. So we already know that we as Christians, whoever's in that office, we're going to be fine. Yeah. And so, but my personal opinion.
That wasn't your opinion.
Well, I'm saying like my that's my truth. That's my truth. I'll say that's my truth. But in my opinion, I think if you do vote for Joe Biden, you're voting for Kamala Harris. I think that as he continues, it may not be a health issue for him, but she's going to be running the country. She's going to have more influence and more.
She should be the president.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that, it doesn't mean that he has to like get sick and be out of office for too long. But if he has to swear her in for any reason, she will automatically become president. And who's to say that power will be given back at any point? But
then
that's what I think
just let her be on the ticket. Just step aside. Everybody, you've had popular people say this about Joe Biden. Tell him to step aside. Let her be the nominee, the president, so she can run. Don't act like that's not the case because y'all scared of losing to Trump. Just be real. That's what they.
Do you think she can beat Trump?
No.
I think.
Absolutely. You think
No.
America
I agree,
will vote
no.
for her?
Well,
Absolutely
well,
not.
here's the
I don't
question.
think America progressive enough for that yet.
No,
To be honest,
it's
You're-
not.
America's not there yet.
No.
To vote a black woman in, I don't think we're there yet.
Not the way social media looks.
I mean, I know we
Not
said
the way-
it. I heard people say it about Barack Obama, and I was, on the optimistic side when he was running. But now I'm just like,
But here's the thing.
That's stretching it.
I watched Fox and CNN after that debate to see what they talking about. CNN looked like somebody just broke in this house and we got to do something real quick because we're scared. Like they look nervous. Everybody on that panel, besides who wasn't conservative, looked nervous. Like we didn't know. And then I think the question to me was, people were saying this before, like, yo, this dude don't look good. He don't look vibrant. He don't look, you know what I'm saying? He could be telling the truth, but he doesn't look good. Like he doesn't look good like he gonna run this country. So the question goes, why did y'all wait to this to be seen to say, people been saying this though? It's not like it's not new.
It didn't look that way at the State of the Union, though.
Because he's reading a teleprompter. Y'all need to understand this. He has every president has teleprompters to their left and to their right during every
His energy,
debate.
though.
Yeah, it's easy to be energetic when you have to remember what you have to say. During the debate, he doesn't have teleprompter, so he has to try to remember what
And
to
he
say.
has a
It's a
speech
totally different.
impediment. He's had to overcome a stutter, you know what I'm saying, as a child. So that's something else too.
I don't know.
Yeah, to add
I was
to
just
that.
thinking, like, man, I know no other country really taking us serious at this
Absolutely not.
point. You look at
And-
Trump,
and
you
they
look at
shouldn't.
Biden.
And they
like,
shouldn't.
you got Trump up there. He's just a fool.
He's funny because when he came out and said that Kung flu all those years ago during COVID, as insulting as it was, it still lives rent free in my head. Trump is going to give a show, and what Trump does is he plays on the it's someone else's fault mentality. Like it's the illegals' fault that you're in this situation. It's this, you know what I'm saying? And he does a good job stirring up that mentality.
Yeah, I don't think he's racist. People say, you crazy? I said, I don't think Trump is racist. Trump is a businessman.
I agree.
I
He
think when
don't
Trump
care.
came out with when he came up with "Make America Great Again," what he was talking about was all of our jobs going to other countries
But
and
that's a
bringing.
used slogan. That was a reused slogan.
Yeah, he was trying to bring jobs back to America, but we just came off of 8 years of a black president. So what racist white people gonna say? Yeah, make America great again. Get the black people out of there and get us a white man in here. So he said, okay, these the folks who gonna vote for me. So let me cater to these folks. He's not racist. He just don't got no integrity.
He knows how to play the game.
Yeah, he don't have no good character or no integrity. But he's not racist. He a
don't
businessman.
care.
What you think, Miracle? Your face is talking.
I
I
Sean
think
thinks
more
like
than one thing can be true at the same time. He
Yeah.
can be a businessman, he can be ignorant, and he can be racist, and he can be like there are many things that can be true. So he can be a businessman and he can be racist.
What makes him racist?
I'm with Miracle on that. I've
just
heard
asking.
him say things.
Just recall his presidency.
Yeah.
I don't even have to speak to
No,
that.
I'm
just
saying.
just
for-
recall. Just think on what he did.
No, I mean,
and you'll be reminded.
No, but what I'm
that's
saying
all
for,
you need.
for people that's watching this, that's like I'm pro-Trump. What makes him? What you're saying he's racist?
just
say
recall.
it.
Just recall.
What you
I don't.
mean?
I don't.
But
Have,
if-
oh no,
Obama
no, we
said-
all watched what he did and how he moved. It spoke for itself.
But for
Obama
some-
said the class system is not a white and black, it's a rich and poor.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
agree with James because when you look at the history of Trump, even before the presidency, he just want to be in the mix. You know, he was in the mix with hip hop when the stuff happened with the Central Park Five. Like he was in the mix with that. Like he just likes to be in the mix. He had his own show. He's very much into the fame and the fortune. I
Rappers
think-
were mentioning
yeah.
Donald Trump in their bars. He was hanging out with Nas
Yeah.
and all these
Well,
people.
I think Donald Trump is everythingist. Everything but him is what he is. I don't think he cares about not a soul
Yeah,
on
he
this
don't
earth
care.
besides himself. So that's why I think, oh, you're a racist? Cool, come on. You classist? Come
He has
on.
no
It
integrity.
doesn't matter to me, long as you're doing what I want. So that's what was odd to me though is that Nick Jones, Corey from Smart Christian's channel, a lot of them I think lean towards Trump. So I was surprised with his reaction that he felt after that, which was a clear loss for your guy. Biden. It was a clear loss. I was surprised that he came out of it feeling like it was like a both
Well,
loss. You know what I mean?
because Trump wasn't answering questions. He was. They asked him about January 6th, and he like, yeah, but on January 6th, my presidency was this, my presidency was that.
And
When
that's
you got
Pelosi.
this, when you got this, and then all this other
Man,
stuff.
Trump
and-
is a hustler and a gangster, bro.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
is.
Trump is. He a hustler, he a gangster, he just want power. He don't
Yeah.
care who he got to get it from.
And he's wealthy, so the rules don't apply to him. You know, like
Yeah.
wealthy people are able to get through
Yeah.
loopholes and things like that that the average American will never know. I mean, for Bank of America not to pay taxes, for Delta to threaten to take their whole hub to another state if Georgia makes them pay taxes, like wealthy people are able to. And I was just having this conversation with my mom just night before last about the debate, and I didn't watch it because I'm one of those Negroes that's just kind of like, you know, I don't care. Like I serve a mighty God, and when you read the Bible and you understand, like the Bible is about a kingdom, and America will never understand that because this is a presidency, this is a democracy, and so we have already a different ideology of how hierarchy works. Like in a kingdom, there is no bureaucracy, there is no, you know, judges and senates and governors. Like it's the king. And that's it. You know, he may take counsel from his chamber, but it's his final decision, period. And I was just having this conversation with my mom about voting because every year, 4 years, I struggle with, am I going to vote? And then you get hit on the back of the head with all these Negroes like, hey, what about your ancestors dying, all this stuff. But as I mature in Christ, you know what I'm saying? It's like as I mature in Christ, it's just like it don't matter. And I think Dr. Tony Evans said it best. Like you can be Democrat light, you can be Republican light, but as a believer, you have to know where your help comes from. So it doesn't matter the state of the world. What God has for me is mine. And as long as he and I and Jesus Christ are walking hand in hand, as long as we are aligned, as long as I'm living out my kingdom person, because God's will is going to be done whether you sign on or not. It just serves and behooves you to do it. You know what I mean? Because it's going to happen, period. Yeah. And so I said all that to say that I'm with him. I don't think it really, let me not say that. Voting matters locally more than it matters nationally. Like people have to stop focusing. The presidency is just I was a political science major, so the presidency is just this hodgepodge of stuff. and it mattered more back when the country was smaller. But now that, everybody's free, right? And I use that word loosely, but now that everyone's free and has the ability to vote, etc., your most impact comes from your day-to-day life. So your board of education, who's going to be the county commissioner, who's going to be the sheriff, who's going to be the local judges in your county, and then your state Supreme Court. So those are the things that matter more, you know what I'm saying, than the presidency. Me, you, all of us not voting isn't going to move a hill of bean in a bean factory.
Man, it's already been established. I don't know.
Yeah.
People say I'm conspiracy theories. I feel like America's a business,
It is.
They only,
It is a business.
they're only going to allow certain
It's a
people to be in there.
corporation.
So it's like if I had a business and I'm going to pass it down to whoever I think is going to run the business correctly. I'm not going to put somebody in there they're not going to run it to the way it needs to be ran. So when I look at, like she was saying, the big major elections, they really don't care what we think for real. Even if you vote for the person, they put your person in there, whatever, they're still going to do whatever they want to do. It's still so much protocol. How much change really going to be made in 4 years? But locally, like you said,
What's interesting
make a big
about
change.
the reason why this stood out to me when Jeremiah sent it to me was we actually had the same do you guys remember this? When it was Hillary versus Trump, we had the same conversation on the show. We never put that video out because at the time it was the same thing. Like, I was getting all these people saying, you guys could sway people to keep him at home. We gotta get him out. We gotta keep him away from the presidency. It's like, man, all I know is that neither one of these parties, especially the last, how long has it been? 10 years? It's 8 years. Neither one of these parties is representing Christians in any kind of way, to me. And I feel like everybody's making these compromises, whether it's for your skin or whether it's for certain issues that people pretend to care about. Even Trump during this debate said, oh, yeah, I'm for abortions past a certain point or for this reason or that reason or that reason. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I thought you were the non-abortion guy. So I'm like, what? None of this feels like it's for us at all, especially black Christians. Feels like nobody cares about us whatsoever. So I'm to the point where I don't know, in mass this does make a difference if everybody starts feeling like this and everybody stops voting. But I just know that I'm at a situation now where I'm like, I can't vote for neither one of these people. I'm a vote. I haven't 100% decided because I know for sure I ain't voting for Trump.
It's two Sauls.
Vote for Kamala.
I am not voting for Trump.
It's two Sauls. I mean, that's what it is. It's two Sauls.
what about the black jobs? You don't feel like you ain't vote for black jobs?
Nobody sent me the application for the black jobs. If there was black jobs reserved for us, I didn't know. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm honestly like debating because we do have microphones and people do listen to us. I'm always like, I don't want to send out a bad message. Please vote for your, what you feel God is telling you to vote for. But me currently, I'm like, I feel like I'm making too many compromises picking between these people. Like, I don't like either one of them.
I do think to tell people not to vote is, and it's up to you to what you want to do. But I would say just look at what you believe, and go and see what these people are about. That's what I would do. That's how I would
because
do.
folks are Democrat or Republican based on their upbringing. Same reason you're a Baptist because that's what you was raised as. But then when you get down to the meat and to the heart of it, it's just like, I don't agree with this. Baptists, don't believe in, correct me if I'm wrong, like being baptized by the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there's just different things. And when you as a believer, right, you would more so align with the Republican side, like pro-choice and, you know what I'm saying, things of that nature, bringing Bibles back into school like Oklahoma's doing. Like, as a believer, those things make more sense. But as Maya asked me so many years ago, and it sits in my heart to this day as I mature in Christ and in my womanhood, she asked me, she said, well, when you go out into the world, do you go out as either a black woman, or as a believer? And at that time, that was during Trayvon, I was like, I'm going out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, period. But now that I'm a believer, it's like, I want people to see the glory of the Lord on my life. Like, you don't need to know anything about me to be able to spot. You can spot my color. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tricky situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with how I actually vote, and that's why I like to get the absentee ballot, because I honestly don't know how people do all the research they need to do when they go into the booth to vote. Because when I have it at home, I could pull up everybody's profile, I could go to their Facebook, and honestly, my criteria is: do you worship Trump? I'm not voting for you. Do you love Jesus? I'm voting for you. Do you love Jesus and worship Trump? I'm not voting for you. Like that's literally how I go down, because yes, I lean more to a conservative side, but I cannot stand people who keep making excuses for this dude. I just can't deal with it. It seems wrong. And I'm like, if you are strong enough to say I'm a believer in Christ and I'm going to hold this dude responsible and accountable for what he's done, then I'm all for you, because that more so aligns with me. You see what I'm saying?
You had to pick one, though. If you had to pick one
Ain't gonna be
right
biting.
now.
The way you just said it.
Like, no choice.
already said it.
I do not like this dude.
He already said 100%.
I don't like this dude.
He's not-
I'm a absolutely not Trump and a probably not Biden, because because there's so much that Biden does that I 100%. This guy claims to be a Christian, like Catholic, so he claims to be, right?
Dangerous.
And he has compromised so much on issues of homosexuality and abortion that I'm like, who are you? Like, how could you give that up just for power? It feels like he's made so many compromises just so he could get in this spot, and he can't even enjoy it now. You know what I mean? Like, look at it's like you've sold your soul for this, and now what are you? You're just like now just being used by other people.
Have you heard what he said? Like, when Christians asked him, how can he approve these things? He pretty much said, I forgot why I saw that, but God doesn't force us to make any choices. We make our own choice on our own. So he said, I don't necessarily agree with abortion, but if you want to have an abortion, it's not up to me.
No,
to
that's
take
crap,
that choice
because
from you.
even on the debate stage, you can't. If he was just like I don't want to force people to do my faith or whatever, you could say that if you want to. But he is required, because of his Democratic position, to champion these things. To me, that's too far. If I'm gonna be the president, and because I'm in the Democratic Party, you're now making me have to champion things that I believe are evil. It's not worth it. You
But
know what I'm saying?
I think just going back to kind of what I said earlier. I remember telling this to Maya. I was like, I think the reason why he's still the reason why he's still the nominee is because these in the middle kind of progressive liberals, they're scared of them. Like the Obamas, the Bidens, they're
scared of the far left.
They're scared of the AOCs. They're scared of them because they like y'all sound out there. And I think they're scared of those type of people getting in there and they losing completely.
The problem is all of us in the room will be considered centrist. Like we're in
moderate
centrist, right? They don't move people.
Yeah.
We don't move people. What moves people is hate, anger, divisiveness.
Yeah.
It's their fault. It's their fault. That's what works in this country. And that's why I don't think we're ever going to be fully represented, because we don't rely on, if you're a genuine Christian, you don't rely on radical blame other first ideas. Even on this show, we're very careful. Even if we completely disagree, there's still a grace that we try to have in our voice to where it's like, it's clear that we still we want best for them. It's not just those people over there are ruining America. Those people over. No, we want everybody to come to Jesus. It don't matter where you come from, who you come from. And that does not work. It does not work politically at all. Nobody cares about
that. You
that.
gotta pick a side.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move to that. We can talk about that till November. Y'all
Trump
know who?
gonna win though.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You think it's sure for sure?
Oh yeah.
We made some predictions on our first show of the year. We do that every year, and I think we were the other way. Most of us.
He gonna win.
I don't even know if he's gonna be on the ballot by now.
Yeah,
Biden.
I kind of threw my hands up and was like, okay, they're saying that he could run the country from prison. So I don't care anymore. That was it.
That's the most gangster stuff.
thought you go to
Yeah,
prison.
gangster, bro.
It's a rap. You get a felony.
He's
it's
untouchable,
a rap.
man. I gave up a long time ago.
Tough love done.
I stopped watching. That man gets away with
He
whatever
like John
wants.
Gotti, man.
Yeah.
So y'all familiar with Anthony O'Neill? Y'all know him?
I've heard of
Anthony
him.
O'Neill.
Yeah.
He's a finance guy. He used to work for Dave Ramsey. He was the black guy on Dave Ramsey, if you don't remember. He left because he kind of wanted to do his own thing.
He left his black job with Dave Ramsey?
His black job? He had a black job. There's at least one at every company. But he left that job.
Gone.
And he's doing well right now.
Yeah.
For some reason, he was on a relationship panel.
Yeah.
Which is
So-
interesting.
Your future wifey
He said something very interesting
at
on
Change Church.
I'm not talking about last time I heard you said church. I'm not talking about change.
Okay.
I'm talking about church, the kingdom of Christ. The reason why I feel as if the actions do not match, and this is not going to be a popular statement, but it's a real statement, and men are not Men are scared to say this, but it's the truth. The reason why most men will not try to holler at a woman in the church is because a woman runs her mouth too much. So if I approach, watch this, listen, 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 listen.
You get a win.
Listen, I love it. Listen.
He's John Gibbs' brother.
We are here doing some more time radio clock. We need to go. Hear it out, women. Here we go. Women, listen. Go ahead, AO. Thank you. Make your point. Here we go. The reason why is because this about it. If a man tries to holler at one woman inside a chain shirt, can I finish? Yes. There you go. Thank you, brother. Thank you. If a man tries to holler at a woman in the church, and if it doesn't go the way that they both would like it to go, right? And then a man leaves, and let's say a month later, he sees another woman inside of the same church. That woman is like, yo, he tried to holler at me. He tried to do this. He tried to do that. Now listen, before y'all even go all like, wait, this ain't me. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is all ladies, but let's be real. This is an action of a lot of ladies. Fact. And most men will not. I already told PD and Pastor Shamik I was going to come and tell the truth. Most men will not want to approach a woman in the church, even if he really wants to, because he's fearful of if it doesn't go that way, what is my name and reputation after you and I end?
I was like that.
So
I went through that.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You went through that too?
No, I didn't go through that. I had that same mentality where it was like, if I date somebody, I don't want to keep dating men or women in this church, so I don't have that reputation.
Yeah, me too.
But I end up with the reputation anyway.
So what?
What was the reputation?
I didn't end up with it, but people thought of that. Like,
what did they think?
Well, because me and Maya's story is basically I used to date Maya's friend before we got together, and that happened. But it was like a couple years later. So some people probably would have that situation. It wasn't like we broke up and but it took me a minute. It really took my friends to be like, bro, go ask that.
Is Maya and the girl still friends?
Not really.
Because y'all started dating?
Probably so,
yeah. Probably so.
Yeah, she had a +1 at her wedding and invited Maya by herself.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it makes sense though. I would understand that.
Yeah. So you waited. That was your biggest fear?
I didn't want. I really am a big person about my name and like how you perceive me, which could be a good and bad thing.
Yeah.
But I think that was my thought. It was like that's why it took me so long because I broke up with her and I ain't date nobody for like a good 3 to 4 years. Like it took me a minute.
We had to convince you.
Yeah. So after that, it was just
seriously. I
was like, okay, but I was very because one, my sister went to this church. I knew people knew me based off her a lot, and I just wanted that. I didn't want that bad reputation.
Like a dog.
Like because I've heard that because it was people that I knew was like I would hear women be like, yo, he a mess. He talked to her, and I was like, I don't want that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
well, how did that hit you when he said y'all talk too much? I thought that was. He's
not lying. For me, and I don't know if the two of you all can attest to this. So me being a foundational Negro black woman from the South, right?
Foundational Negro.
I grew up in a house of cackling women. Like I listened to a message. I don't know if y'all have heard. I was talking to Sean about this morning. Have you all heard of Jerry Flowers Jr.?
Mm-hmm.
No.
He's wonderful. And so he has these things called Therapy Thursdays, and one of his pastors did a message on we argue too much, and that was the name of it. So I took a listen, and in that message, the man said, you were never taught how to disagree. And it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was never taught how to disagree, and gossiping is a part of not knowing how to disagree or something not going your way or something not landing in the way that you wanted to land. So you go and you share your experience about it because you're still, and I can't speak for everyone here, but for myself, God had to deliver me from that because I would talk about something because I was still in it. And I was still processing it. And so, but I never considered it gossiping. But as I look at my childhood and see how my mom would get on the phone with her sisters when she was, you know what I'm saying, when something didn't go right or, you know, and that's my pedigree. That's where I come from. So I don't think that it's something that's an awareness. I think that it's just a disappointment. And because it didn't work out, I agree with him now. It's just like, well, it didn't work out for us, so it ain't going to work out for you because he a lazy, no good. And that's not necessarily true, but it just didn't. You just don't know what to do with those feelings, so you go and you express them. That's my
venting
perspective. Yeah, yes, Ryan. Venting is gossiping, but you got to know who you can vent to.
Yeah.
You got to know who you can vent to in how you language the conversation. Because I thought I was just venting, but I was gossiping because I don't go around quoting Angelina Jolie and then I'm going to shut up. But she said this and I took it. She said, if you got to tell more than 2 or 3 people, you're looking for an audience. You're not looking for advice. You're looking for an audience.
That is good. That is good. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think that makes sense. When I heard it, a few things came to mind. Well, actually, first to your point, I think externally processing is a thing. Like some people need to talk it out to understand, to process, to internalize it properly. And so that might look like them talking to multiple people. And I don't think that is necessarily, I think the motivation is different based on the person. So just because somebody is an external processor doesn't mean their intention is to gossip. It really could just be them trying to process. And I lean more on the side of internal processing, but I am intentional about the people I choose to externally process with. So I think that is important. The other thing is, follow Anthony. Got some cool stuff to say. He's cool from what I've seen. But I just, y'all know me. I really think words are important. The way we communicate things are important. And so I think saying, oh, women be out here talking too much just has a negative connotation to it. I think maybe suggesting like, okay, this is something I've observed. How do you all think that you could better navigate communicating to one another? Because the other thing I think is a lot of times, at least what I've experienced and I've been processing through recently as a woman thinking about dating, wanting to be married, there's this very real reality that sometimes we feel like we don't have a lot of power in the situation. It's like, okay, the man a lot of times might be the one making decisions and choices, and our power may feel limited. And so I think having to navigate that, maybe our way of talking is a way of feeling like I have voice, I have agency. This is my way of having some form of power. So I think just simplifying it down to this very catty, women talk too much, that's an oversimplification. But I understand how that could cause a man to feel uncomfortable, right? But yeah, just think about if you was processing something and you was struggling and you was watching, you might want to go talk to some folks too, So I think, just having grace for that as a man would be helpful because thinking it's just catty is, like I said, an oversimplification. So
well said.
Oh, okay.
Well said.
I think his point was that the reason why it's talked about is because he may have hurt that woman's feelings. Like honestly, he may have dated that woman, it didn't work out, and now she sees him with somebody else, and it's like that messed her up. That jacked her up. I gotta
warn her.
Yeah, I gotta warn her, and I gotta warn these other women too.
Right.
Which in essence isn't a bad thing because it's like if he did me dirty, most likely he's gonna do you dirty.
Not
too.
true.
Not
I don't
true,
agree with that.
But
that is a thought.
But that's a thought process of I got it all together. Why not me? Why not me? Why is he about to Why is he with her? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Especially for I know I've heard guys say this about other guys like why he getting married? I got more swag than him. I'm more like
That's why.
It pulls out the instinct.
I'm serious. I'm more muscular than him. I got more money than him. Why is God choosing him over me? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I'm
I've
just
heard
saying the
men
same
say
thing.
that.
Like I'm just saying I've heard men talk like why is he getting married than me? You know what I mean?
I hadn't heard that.
I heard the Negroes be like, hold on a little longer. Don't give in. Don't throw in the towel yet.
Right. On the flip side, when I heard the clip, I was like, this is giving lack of accountability.
Preach, queen.
And with a lot of men, in my observation, they don't operate prayerfully. So if this is your action.
Preach, queen.
If you are going around just dating anything,
Hello?
like the world,
Hello.
you just dating,
Speak on it.
and you're not prayerfully asking the Lord, I like this woman, she's beautiful. Should I pursue her?
Preach.
Are you doing that?
Preach.
Because at the end of the day, people can say what they want about you, but your character is going to precede you.
Hello.
And
Yes.
is she saying something that is true?
Right. Is it
Is
hitting
she
a
proving
nerve?
your actions?
Right.
You don't want to call yourself a dog, are you?
Yeah.
Rough.
Right. If it bark like a dog, I mean, at this point. So are you operating in grace and operating in a way that shields and protects her feelings?
Hello.
Because she is your sister in Christ. This action, I feel like, takes place before you're married. Like when you're approaching women, you need to see them as women, as sisters in Christ, how God views his daughters. So if you're doing that more prayerfully and you're operating more gracefully and operating more prayerfully, I think they may have less negative things to say about you, even if their feelings are hurt. And
100%.
if their feelings are hurt and they're talking because people know your character and the way you operate, they may be
it
like,
won't
her
get
feelings
far.
hurt.
And,
Yeah,
and
it
I
won't get far.
agree. And men have to
100%.
start taking accountability because when you look
Yes.
at the family structure, it's God, the head, the man, and the woman. And then
Right.
do all things with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And women have to talk. You seem, Miracle, like you're very introspective. You know what I mean? That you are very, very cognizant of your language before you speak. Me, I was raised to get down in the sand with it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't fixing to. Like, you're not about to talk to me.
Yeah.
You ain't about to do me, and basically kind of almost treating him like an enemy and not understanding that he's my support. And this is me being fully transparent. And however, in that same breath, as two things can be true at the same time, men have to start taking accountability. Like, this woman is the weaker vessel. She is demure, and she should be treated as such, not less than an equal.
Right.
But there are certain sensitivities that a woman needs. Yes, James.
I feel like y'all had some great dialogue. I learned a lot of stuff today. I'm not even gonna lie. But kind of what you were saying just now, like the competition piece, that's what I really see a lot, especially when I see these panels like in black churches and things of that nature. There's always where it's like, even you talking about marriage and these different things, it's always like, well, the man does this, the woman does this, and almost like we're put against each other. So what I would like to think it should be is, okay, it's a man of God, it's a woman of God. I respect this woman of God. I respect this man of God. So when situations come about, if we're both prayerful, we both filled with the Holy Spirit, instead of us being at odds on certain topics such as this, how can we come together to fix the situation? It's not me against you, it's us against the situation, because as a whole, it's making both of us look bad. It's making black men look like we're not accountable, like we don't want to be held under any kind of, you know what I'm saying, responsible or nothing like this. And women make women look like, oh, they just catty and gossipy and it's always confrontational. And none of those are the case 100% of the time.
Because walking with Christ, and I'm going to just be honest, walking with Christ make people feel like they look like a punk. You know what I'm saying? It makes them feel like they're accepting disrespect. They're accepting these things, but it's like you're just being humble. Like, what's wrong with apologizing first? Even though you haven't done anything necessarily wrong, like, as a believer, it is our duty and respect. You know how many times I done had to, apologize, and I feel like I don't owe you that, but because I value the relationship and because I value you as a person, and I know that this is what it's going to take to move on, to get to safety, then I'm going to initiate that, and I'm going to accept responsibility for my part. Now, what God is working on me in, full being honest, as I accept my part, I gotta let the Lord let you do your part. It's not my responsibility to point out the speck in your eye while I'm working on the log in my own.
But what you said though is true though. Like what you're saying is that's the perfect. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, the confrontation though, that's what we're bred in. Like men against men, women against women. I hear women say all the time, I don't like being around other women because they gossip and they catty and they this and that. I don't get along with. I get along better with men. We hear women say that all the time. But when a man comes out and says the same thing that the woman says, now it's like, how dare he say that? So it's like we can say it about each other, but a man can't say it. I'm not saying he was right or wrong or indifferent.
So I will say this: I'm very proud of you guys. You guys were very gracious because I was going to be harsher. The guys that I know in the church that complained about this, I had never thought about this. The guys in the church that complained about this were the dogs.
Yeah.
So let's find out. Let's find out who this one is. All right. So Anthony O'Neill said some more things.
Okay, Anthony.
And I want to
He's chatty.
I want to hear what you have to say.
What was the question again? The question was, are single men who confess Christianity willing to wait? Why am I making it more specific? Are you as a Christian man who confess Christianity willing to wait until marriage for sex? Are you honestly celibate or abstinent?
So no, I have not abstained. I'm gonna be very honest about that. And I think that's a problem with Christian men. Single men, we say the right things on stage when we get in front of the body of the Christ, but we won't be honest.
Teach.
So the mature part of me was to hear and say, no, I have not been abstinent. Am I willing to wait? Absolutely. Here's my only concern, not as a pastor, not representing Change Church. We got to stop saying that the right person will wait, because that could be the right person and you're still having sex with the right person. It's the heart. And I agree with what she just said. If y'all are willing to step away and get it right and get before God, get before pastor, it doesn't matter really where you are. I think we put so much emphasis on sex, but I know virgins who are going to hell. And so for me, I'm just going to keep it above. And so for me, everything that we said, I'm just being honest. It's like, listen to what the pastor there just said. He didn't harp on purity. He said, is this man a man? Is he a leader? Does he love people? And so for me, I'm not just focused on trying to abstain from sex. I'm trying to be the daggone best man God has made me to be. And being that man, I will fall. It may not be with sex, but I may fall and cut somebody out. That's being real. Yeah. So I'm trying to grow as that man.
I got a lot to say.
Okay, Jeremiah, you start us off, sir.
Here's my question. And I'm saying this because my new church is multicultural. My former church was black. Why do we at black churches get the most charismatic person to be on panels for stuff like this, and then when it comes out, like, you shocked? Like, in my mind, I'm like, y'all don't have nobody that's really like, you don't want to come to no singles meeting and be like, oh yeah, he's fornicating, so it is what it like. So y'all chose this brother because he got a following, he charismatic, and he basically up on stage saying, I'm not saying we're not perfect, but I'm just saying this is like, it is what it is, and that's different than God help me with the struggle. It is what it is like,
I agree.
we could do whatever.
It's different.
Go ahead, man.
It's different from saying he's not committed to his covenant.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, did he say as a pastor of Change Church, or
No,
is he saying to the pastor?
Not as a pastor.
Not
as
as
a
a
minister.
pastor.
Oh, okay.
They're
Okay.
saying as a regular believer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's the part I was stuck on. I was like, whoa, because the fact that he said I do not abstain, it means that he's not trying. That's what it sounds like
I'm
to
not
me.
even in the process of abstaining.
Sounds like willful sin.
Did y'all take it like that, or was he saying like, I just haven't?
Nah.
I've been trying, but I'm struggling.
Sounds like
Nah.
it's not a big concern for
You
him.
know,
No, because
I didn't hear struggle in that.
to me, I wonder, when he said you could be having sex with the right person, it's just the wrong time.
Gotcha.
My thing is, well, the person that you should be with should be trying to abstain as well, and then not, you know what I'm saying, like,
So I'm gonna ask you this: do y'all know anybody who y'all know had a successful marriage now, who believers, who did not have sex before they got married?
That did not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
What you mean?
That's rare.
Let's say that again.
I don't know many people who saved or unsaved or whatever. Like, I don't know many people who did not have sex, with I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's cool. It's okay. But I don't know. When I listened to him, what I was getting was, it's a lot of folks who are not perfect out here before. I think he was probably a little nervous because he already ruffled the women up a little bit. But I think what he was saying is a lot of people, you may not be perfect before your marriage. You may have somebody who y'all compatible on a lot of levels, but y'all may be really physically attracted to one another, and you need to get some accountability. You need to go to your pastor. You need to put things in place. You need to go over this house this time of night and do this and do that. We have the compatibility. We just not operating correctly. We need to try to find a way to put that on hold. And he gave an example of somebody on stage who said, yeah, we were doing this, but we got accountability, got help. We chilled out until we got married, then we resumed what we were doing. You know what I'm saying?
James, it don't sound like he was saying all that.
It doesn't.
It sounds like
I can fall and cuss you out.
Yeah,
it was like I'm just me.
It sounds like
I got what James got.
I just don't see him on stage saying, "Excuse me, Pastor, but I'm just gonna have sex." I just didn't see that. I don't know.
It sounds to me like he's not very concerned with it.
Yeah.
This is something he's like, I'm gonna be honest. I don't do that. It don't sound like he's trying to do
like,
it.
I don't practice it.
It sounds like there are there's a lot of Christians who feel like it's impossible. So I think he kind of falls into that mold of, I'll work on everything else about my life except that part.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
I got from it, I haven't abstained, but I can if I meet the right woman and that's what she wants to do.
That's
I'm
wrong
willing
too,
to.
I didn't get that
Well,
either.
that's what it said, because he said I haven't, but I will, or I can.
So-
If you can't control that beast, before, no, it is. That's passion. Is your flesh. If you can't control that prior to y'all getting together, if she is like, okay, you're leading me because you're the man, or you're leading me, but at this same time, I'm tempting you, it's gonna be worse.
So this is why it matters, because it goes back to the last point, and this is maybe why he's getting signals from the women and they're sharing information, because he's not willing to submit this part of his life.
Yeah.
This is very important. You shouldn't be saying, oh, I won't have sex before marriage as a man if that's what my future wife wants to do. You should be leading that.
Yeah.
I
That should
mean,
be
I
your
don't disagree,
stance.
but it's backwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I go back to this. Like, following the Lord is tough. Even though He says my commands are not a burden, the sin that we live in, you know what I'm saying? It is tough, and we live in America, you know, where sex is from here to the ceiling. I mean, it is in the everything, and so
Hamburger commercial, you gonna see sex.
everything. It's in everything. It's starting to become in children's shows. I mean, it's now your identity.
Yeah.
So the real question Maya need to be asking this year is like, do you lead with your sexual identity, or do you know what I'm saying, as your belief? So it's really, really hard. And I wasn't a virgin before I got married. Because all I was told was, don't have sex before you get married and don't get pregnant. Well, what I'm supposed to do with that? You know, like, what am I supposed to do with that as a 16, 17-year-old girl? I love him. You know what I mean? We're going to get married. Like you can't just stick a Band-Aid on a faucet and expect to not to have a problem.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. So I think I agree with Plain James, because I don't think he's saying that it's something that he's not open to. I think that he's never been given the language outside of don't have sex before marriage. But
I'll say
how do you
this.
combat that?
There's forgiveness for if you have sex before marriage. But if you are presently today saying that I love Jesus and I'm following him, if a man is not willing to say, regardless of you, I am committing my body to Christ, I am not having sex before marriage, and even if you want to, the answer is no.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, that's a red flag. That means you're counting on this person to lead you in for the rest of your life. Yeah. That is the first task, to see if he's able to do that. Not saying that people can't fail, they stumble, but your intention should be, I'm going to serve God and I'm going to follow God. Now, there are a lot of people who don't even know that's possible. That's why we do this show, to say it's possible. We actually did not have sex before marriage. We have a successful marriage now. There are challenges with that. There's some inexperience with that. There's some weird issues that come along with that. But you can work it out. If you stay faithful, it can work. if you are aware of what I just said and you still say I'm gonna do it anyway, to me that is a huge red flag. That means you're not
I don't
submitted.
disagree, but has he truly submitted? That's the question. You know what I'm saying? Like we're putting responsibilities on him, and he may not even be that deep in it. He may just be like a Republican Democrat believer. You know?
But if he is, red flag.
Right.
Nah,
We're
women-
honestly
women
responding
watching.
to what he's saying.
This is not it.
You know, we're responding to what he's saying. And like he said, as an example, my testimony in itself is proof that God can sustain. I'm 31. I'll be 32 in 2 weeks. Woo woo. I'm still a virgin.
Birthday. Praise
God can sustain. Like he said, people have stumbled, but I realize you have to be submitted to God. You have to understand that the word is the word. God is not a God that he shall lie. Anything that I submit to God, he can give me better. And that is what drives you. God will sustain you. I have a brother and sister in Christ that I love dearly. They dated for 5 years, didn't kiss till marriage. And there's go ahead.
My question: how long have you been walking with the Lord?
I'm a church baby.
So now we take it to, like, for me. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? So you were around everybody who went to church in the South, but it was folks in the church who were getting it in. So it's like, don't do this, don't do that. But like she said, we didn't have the language. We thought we were believers. We didn't really understand completely what it meant to have a relationship. So then, even after I got saved and I came to the Lord, I still had a little residue still left for me, because salvation, you're working it out in fear and trembling daily. So after I got saved, I still failed a few times. Not because I was just like, I'm just going to do it. It was just like, it was in me. You feel me? So I had to work those things out. So if I was on the panel at that time as a believer, believing that Jesus died on the cross, and you asked me, was I abstaining? I'd be like, be honest with y'all, I haven't been abstaining. I believe I can, because I believe God is strong enough to do it. But as of right now, I haven't been doing it, and I'm trying to get there.
So plain, if she came to you and said, hey, there's a young man that's interested in me, he feels the way you felt at that time, what would you tell her?
I was like, you might want to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm not saying that he's not a believer. I'm not saying he won't treat you right or respect you, but he does have a lot to work on, because it's hard to, like she said, it's hard to cut the faucet off. When you going, you know what I'm saying? Then they just like, no, and you just like. So it's like, if I've been having sex for years, if I've been smoking weed for years and doing this, yeah, I got the Holy Spirit now, I'm saved. My flesh is a whole different animal. The flesh still saying, yeah, every night around 9 o'clock, we were doing such, 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 such. My flesh still want that, so I'm learning how to die to that still.
And that's all I'm saying, is that it's something you should be aware of. I implore every man that says that they're a man of God, you have to conquer. If you're single, you have to conquer this part, because this is a big sign that you are truly submitted, because this is one of the hardest things you will ever have to do in your life. Going through this process was difficult, because you don't know if you're ever actually going to get married. So you're sacrificing something that you don't know if you're ever going to get a reward for it.
And that means also
the reward is
porn.
Jesus Christ.
That's
being obedient. That is the reward. And I think the thing that we really have to hit the nail on is willful sin. There's a difference between you're failing, like you said, I'm working this out with fear and trembling, and I'm making a decision, well, I'm going to submit every part of my life but this. It's willful sin.
And this is what always happens when we bring this up, because I'm very careful not to ever sound like, we're bragging about this or that, because God promised he can repair what the locust has eaten.
Yes,
right?
Sean.
God will restore you back to virgins that in his eyes you are nothing happened to you, right? So everything can be restored. But I just, for men, I'm not even talking about women. For men, I'm begging you, get this part right, because this is signaling to the women around you how serious you are about God. If you don't have this part conquered in your life, you have to focus on it, because it takes every single effort, especially if you're young, because now you're battling your own, like your body is craving it, right? So you have to try your best to submit this part to God, because if you do, this is the prayer I prayed. I said, God, this is an issue for my life. This is something I want. Make me into the man you want me to be. And if you really submit that, and you'll look back and you'll be like, man, I don't even want to look at porn. I don't even it's still, of course, the desire's there, but it doesn't control you anymore.
Right.
That's not something it's not willpower. I'm not saying do it, It's ask, beg God to give that to you, because he can change it.
Don't leave the women out. Because we live in a society today where they leading with that pee. Everybody got the best pee on the market.
But that shouldn't be the women of God, though. That's not our standard.
But
cover your eye gates, your ear gates, your mouth gates. You have a responsibility.
Let me
Don't
tell you this,
listen
though.
to
Let's
sexually
go to the
explicit
Bible.
music. Don't watch sexually explicit content. Unfollow them. Don't listen to Sexy Red. Like, we also have to make sure and understand that we play a responsibility in this as well. So walking on that purity walk is not easy. That's why Paul says he beats his flesh into submission. We understand. Jesus walked the walk with us, being fully God, fully human. He understands, which is why I like to think that my Jesus be blushing when he look at me, because I be trying my best, even when I fall, to where it's like you have everything, your power, everything in you is telling you to defy me, but you're choosing me instead.
I'm going to tell you about that, though. So when you say he beat his flesh to subjection, that means the flesh was really resistant. You know what I'm saying? So he even said also, this is a man who was snake bit, shipwrecked, stoned, imprisoned, eventually beheaded. And this man said what when he talked about fornication? He said, flee. Paul really was scared of much, but he said, run from this mug. And then he says, it's better to marry than to burn. If you're burning, that means, like, you know how it feels to burn with something? So people are burning with desire. It's people who are let's be real about it. People who are nymphomaniacs out here. It's people who are molested at a young age who don't really understand sexuality. It's a lot of different dynamics that come into these things. Chemical imbalances. I know people who are bipolar. One of the main things they do when they get in their manic phase, they want to have sex. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of different variables that come into that. So it's like some people may not be able just to walk that straight and narrow straight through, and they may really be fighting. Fighting look different for different people. For some people, you may be able to maintain purity 30 years, and that's a blessing. Like, that's something you should be proud of. But for some people coming out of some of these situations, if they can make it 5, 10, 15 days for them, that's a major accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? And we can't really say they're not trying because of that. It's just they went through a set of extreme circumstances that made it extremely hard to do that.
I'll say this to that, James. I just think that's why it's so good to be in a Bible believing church and be accountable to men. And also, I think it's good to also be like, talk to people about what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Or even what your struggles are. Because for so many times, there's so many people on islands as Christians, like they're alone and they're isolated on their own merit. There's so many people that want to help women or men to become the better person that Christ called them to be. But so many of us just love our sin.
Or we've been raised, what happened in this house, stay in this house.
Yeah.
You know
Absolutely that.
Yeah.
Absolutely that. I think the other thing to what James was saying, like and speaking to women specifically, understanding our bodies, because I grew up in the church too. Similar, story for myself. But the thing that I have consistently seen throughout a lot of my time in the church is that there's not a lot of education. There's not a lot of truthful talk about how you're actually wired, how God actually created you, what your hormones do. And it's not a sin when you're ovulating and things start happening. Learning about those types of things, I think is really helpful, because I used to demonize my body and I used to hate that part of myself. I felt that whole concept of, beat yourself into submission. But you're also made in the image of God. He was intentional in the way that he created every element of you. So if you are experiencing an excitable moment, that is not sin in and of itself. And I think that's the part of like recognizing our humanity and not hating it, because Jesus was fully human and fully God. And so there's a reason why he didn't just shut down part of our humanity and say, okay, I'm just going to hold this off till you get married. Then you can access it. Like, that's a means by which, to what Sean was saying, we can pray and even ask God to give you the right people to talk to and to discuss these things with, because it's not bad to have more knowledge and understanding and to have grace for yourself. But it's just figuring out, okay, how do I work through this? How do I be honest about this? If it's therapy, if it's just having safe people to talk through your maybe sexual trauma or whatever it is, because it's not all one dimensional.
That's why I hold the standard to the men. Your job is to lead and to cover. If you are walking the way you're supposed to walk, there's too many women that have trusted their bodies, their lives, their futures to men who said they were godly, and then they took advantage of them. So that's why I'm like, it's your responsibility first. You got to get this right, because God came to Adam and said, what did you do? You see what I'm saying? It's your responsibility. So I'm challenging men, because I see too many men they just do not care about this at all in their lives, and they need to start paying attention.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, as last thing. It also weeded people out. You know what I mean? When I would say I'm not having sex before I get married, there I would, find people that did not want to date me anymore, and that was a good thing.
And Ryan meant it.
Yeah.
Because that was a way for me to say, okay, you're not serious about your walk, so let me keep it moving. And I think that works in reverse as well. When women find men, they say, oh, you know what?
All right, so real quick, we got a super chat said, why do we as believers fall so short when the issue of sex comes up? I think that was it. There's so much into it. It's your body, your actual hormones. We're getting married way later than people in the Bible did, right?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with this for much longer than most people did back then. So because of our culture, you're taught to get married in your 30s when these people were getting married late teens, right? So this is something that lasts a little bit longer in our culture, and because it's so
sensationalized.
Yeah, it's like it's normal for you not to do this. It's not like it's the normal thing, and then some people are falling astray. It's weird if you find a virgin, especially a dude around, right? So it's so countercultural that's why you have to consider not just the people who are virgins. You have to consider all the people, like Plain said, that have fallen, that have been raised in environments that made it okay. There's so many people you're talking to at the same time that you have to be considerate of everybody. That's why it takes a little bit longer to weave your way through it, because you don't want to leave anybody out. But
last thing I want to say is, like, look at David. David was personally appointed by God himself. And Bathsheba, I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did whatever he could to get to that woman.
First porn.
Samson, you know what I'm saying? Samson's weakness was women. You know what I mean? Fell because of Delilah. So this is, as to Plain James' point, what Paul said, like burning your, it is hard. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And it sounds like, Queen, you were discipled. I didn't have that blessing. You know what I'm saying? Discipled. Well, growing up in a church.
Yeah, but to be completely honest with you, everything that I've come up with has been in a secret place with God. I literally got knee deep in the Word and have learned everything through God himself. So that's why when I say, like, the Lord will sustain, he literally will sustain. And then also putting me, like I said, community. I was molested as a child, so I understand. So it's not just a cookie cutter. I was raised in a church, even though, grandparents, deacons, prayer warriors, all of that. But I still was subjected to some hard things in life, and I chose to submit them to God. And then God answered me. So that's why I'm just letting you guys know, like, I understand sexual sin is a thing. I understand spiritual warfare is a thing. But the word is true, and it says we have a God that overcame the world. He overcame everything. And even if you have all of these things going on, you can still submit that to him, and he will answer you.
And it takes time too, because some people get deliverance immediately.
Yeah.
Right. And some people, the testimony is a journey.
To that point, Christ healed some people when they were blind immediately. One guy, he rubbed it one time, he saw men like trees, and he reached down and he had to touch him again. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes healing is a process, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's immediate. I know a guy, my dude Five, shout out to Five, he was on meth and crack. He was smoking meth and crack for 7 years. God said, go to church. He walked into a church, immediately went down to the altar in the middle of their service, didn't know what was going on. God delivered him from meth and crack. Some folks got to go to a 12-step program.
Yeah.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm glad you guys are here, because I don't know how we would have did this show without y'all, because this next topic,
goodness,
just pay attention to this
more.
one. Yes, there is.
The problem, a lot of going back to what you said, Legacy, the reason why women don't work on themselves is because culturally we were taught that we are enough regardless.
That's true.
And that's not saying that, okay, we are daughters of God. Like, yes, we are valuable, we're worthy, we're washed with the blood, right? But oh my gosh, especially in this time,
Facts.
It don't matter what you do, you are a prize, right? It doesn't matter, especially once that girl, what's Steve Harvey's daughter name?
Lori.
Yeah, she did a interview on the red carpet that went viral, and it's like, what's one thing that you want to tell the girls? Just remember you are the prize. And the women ran with it, and I think that did such a disservice to actual emotional growth for women, actual mental growth for women, actual spiritual growth for women, because it's like, no, that's actually inaccurate. It doesn't matter how bad you are, it don't matter how good you are in the bedroom. at the end of the day, if you are not emotionally mature, you will not be able to not only manage that.
All right, so that's TK Lee. So shout out to the Fresh Leftovers, awesome show. Go check them out. They had her on. What do you guys think about what she said?
I agree, because in the church, in our community, right, all Eve did was show up. That's what we're taught. Eve showed up. And Adam, this woman, and he knew her. You never hear, but people skip the fact that Adam and Eve were in a perfect environment. They skip the fact that there was no sin. They skip the fact that Adam had no other choices. They skip the fact that Adam was in direct communication with the one true living God. They skip the fact that they were in God's personal glory every single day. They skip the fact that all Eve had to do was show up. You know what I'm saying? Because there was nothing a fault about her. But that's not our life. And I do agree with her. I think that everything does start with a man. I do believe that. And when the man is not in position, God in his faithfulness will sustain the family. But the flourishment of the family, the man has to be in position. And I do believe, especially I can only speak for our community, right? I do think that a lot of women do feel like all I have to do is just show up, you know what I'm saying, and be the mom, do the maternal things, the wifely things that we've heard about, but the functionality of the relationship, of the marriage, is on the man. I feel like this because you need to work on this, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I'll be satisfied.
Interesting.
I think that's what it is. I feel like you see that in social media. You know, don't take me to the Cheesecake Factory. If you ain't spending $500 on me, you know what I'm saying? We ain't got nothing to talk about. If you ain't pulling up in a big body, you know what I'm saying? If your stuff ain't the best in the bedroom, it's like there's a lot of, and I have a son. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a daughter and I have a son. God is good, baby. So all I had to do was two in them out.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes. And my son is a prize. You know, because a lot of it's a lot of love, it's a lot of prayer, it's a lot of dying.
That's good.
That I'm doing and that his father is doing to make sure that when we're gone, that he has a personal and intimate relationship with the one true living God. So I wish somebody would ever step to my son. Yeah. Like, you know, you down here and I'm up here simply because God made me a woman. No, like that's not the thing. And on the other hand, I have a daughter. Right. You know, so from that perspective I wish she would step into a man's life and try to overcompensate, because I also do think that women now feel the need to overcompensate. And what God is showing me, that marriage is a oneness. Mm-hmm. And my husband is strong in this area, I'm strong in this area, and that's how two become one. And that's good. There should be enough of me to rub off on you. Not that you're fully like me and not that I'm fully like you, but now we can become an operable agreement. And so with me having a daughter, it's like I would never want her to have to step up, and I hate to say this, build a man, right?
Yeah. That's real.
Because that's a lot of stress on a woman, because it flips the relationship, and a woman loses a lot of respect, and a lot of resentment now happens when a woman has felt like she's had to mother him in a way, because now the woman isn't getting what she needs from him. So to get off of my soapbox, it's like
it's a good one.
My son is a prize and my daughter is a prize, and that's why the Bible says be equally yoked. And I believe that's why arranged marriages
that's good,
was so important back in the day, because we can now see, like, hey, they come from good breeding. You know what I'm saying? And if I could arrange a marriage for my kids, I would. I'd have Kaz marry Noah. You know what I'm saying? Because I know Noah come from good breeding. Yeah. I would have, you know, my son marry, you know, Mariah, because I know she comes from good breeding. It's the road less traveled. So all we can do is plant the seeds and pray that, you know, they mature the way that God intends.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I agree. That makes sense. I think just listening to that and even hearing you helped to flesh out the idea more in my mind. But perhaps the reason, because personally, I can't relate to that at all. The whole concept of women just being, we ain't got to work on ourselves, like that is not.
But anybody can listen to you with a brain and tell that you are of a higher quality of a woman.
Oh, well, that's
like they can listen to you and
Bless
tell
God.
that. Yeah.
Thank you. That's kind.
I don't think you'll have that problem.
Thank you. But yeah, so when she spoke that, I was like, okay, I don't know that I know exactly where she's coming from. But then once you were fleshing that out, it helped me. But from what you were saying, I started to think perhaps there's an internalization that women have of the objectifying of their bodies, of being a good sexual partner, having that like good, beautiful appeal, and the womb, right? It's like, okay, I'm bearing your heirs, your children. And so then operating like, okay, so in this way, I am the prize, right? Like if that is the internalization of what's happening, I'm the object of desire. I'm the one that you've chased, right? Like if it's that kind of thought process, then I can understand it. But I think, it was just so good what you said about us all being the prize. And perhaps the reason why the Bible speaks of, women being like beauty. I'm losing the actual verse, but beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord will be praised, and like her being like rubies and more rare, right? Like perhaps that is speaking to adding the value where women weren't undervalued. So it's like, hey, let's put value on the way in which she reflects the beauty of God, like her integrity and those things. But maybe we've just internalized that ignorantly within the church of like, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm like the beautiful whatever. So
again, I'm glad you guys are here because I can't super relate to this, but I will say this: there's nothing to me. I'm just talking for me. There's nothing more beautiful than to watch God mold your wife into a more perfect woman of God. Like you could see from when I first met my wife to where she is now, you could see what God is doing. Every area of worry, every area of stress, like you could see God working in her life.
So sweet.
That's beautiful to me. So I think if that's what she means, is that you have to dig into God as well. You have to grow as well.
Absolutely.
That's a beautiful thing to watch God mold your wife into somebody that's more like him. It's awesome.
But that's not what she meant.
Right. So
Not Lori, at least.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That internalization of what we
She
what we
meant you to
provide.
prize.
Yeah.
Period.
From the beginning.
I think biblically,
Without being a
women,
woman.
I'm not going to just say women. I will say wives are the prize. But let me backtrack.
Yeah, the
So
favored.
I think that when you understand your significance and the significance of creation, how awesome God is and how intentional he is and how he created us wonderfully and differently, not equally, but differently, you already have that foundational understanding that we are both valuable. However, when I go to Proverbs and you're at Proverbs 31, and like you said, there women are equated to jewels, she'll be a crown unto her husband's head. When I speak to married men, they are like championing, like, yes, oh my God, I love my wife, what she's done for me, the value that she adds to her life. A crown is a treasure. What is a treasure? A prize.
Yeah.
She is a prize. And
Right.
even like a wife, the bride of Christ is coming for his bride. That's a prize. The position that you hold is powerful. So when I think that contextually, when I think about that idiom
good.
through the biblical worldview, a wife, a woman of God, a Proverbs 31 whose life is submitted to God, like you said, that's beautiful. She is a prize.
I think it's that part. It's the woman who is
submitted
that.
to
Who is
God.
submitted.
Are you a prize by default?
And
I think
No,
Yeah,
you
that's what I
have to
was
work
getting
on
at.
yourself.
Yeah.
That's
So
what I was
like when
getting
I
at.
originally saw the video, I was like, I don't think we should generalize that women they think they're the prize and they don't think they have to work on themselves because of that. No, I think people in general don't want to do the work because the work is
fair.
messy.
Absolutely.
Submitting to God, dying to yourself is messy.
Absolutely.
And your gaze is not on Jesus. You're not filtered through the word properly
Right.
because
Right.
you're allowing what the world says. Like you said, I'm pushing P, I'm pushing my beauty, I'm pushing all of this stuff when even verses that you guys quoted, beauty is fleeting, it contradicts that
And
directly.
it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
is
Real quick, we got a super chat.
Okay.
LJ Taylor said, it's a double-edged sword. If you put yourself too much together, you are intimidating and won't fit the helper role, but the competition role or counselor role. So I think what she's saying is
interesting.
Some men are intimidated when you're
Absolutely.
too put together and too grounded in Jesus. We've had topics like this, mature versus new Christian.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
Well, here's the thing. I'll say
don't.
this. I think the thing goes back to, are we okay? So for men, we may talk about, man, that dude is worldly. Man, that man, like if a man comes into a church and he's doing worldly stuff, we're like, man, what's going on with homie? Like he out of pocket. But I think sometimes in the church, what she described that being the prize, I've never heard a woman sound like that when describing the prize of what a biblical worldview of a woman should be. That was the first time I've ever heard something that special. You know what I mean? That was very good. So, but for me, what I've seen is, and like I said, our church is a little bit different, and I'm like, we're married. Me and my wife have been married so long, so I don't know what the single life. But what I've seen sometimes is
it was a beautiful wedding.
It was. But what I've seen now at times is that the culture is dictating how women are in the church sometimes.
Absolutely.
And that's not
absolutely
what we're seeing at that point is that's not God, and we're mixing stuff in to be like that's God. I'm sorry, we're mixing stuff in to saying like, yeah, I'm the prize. He got to do this. He got to do that. But at the same time, are you submitted to the Lord?
That part.
Is your life submitted to Jesus?
Yeah.
If Jesus did give you that man, can you submit to that man? Can you talk to him? Can he submit to you? Because sometimes some men can be like, I'm not submitting to this woman. She talked to me like I'm a dog. She talked to me crazy.
So let me do this because I'm gonna try and get one more topic in.
Okay,
I killed two already.
Sean, is it okay if I address this really quickly? So the double-edged sword. I feel that I have literally lived it. And for a long time, just to be very candid, I started feeling very frustrated because I started feeling like, Lord, you've been refining, you've been sanctifying, you've been taking me through all these processes of maturing me, and I keep coming across these men who aren't there yet, or I just keep the guys who are great, we just aren't aligned, like we're not on the same page. And so it started to feel like, okay, what's the point of all the work? And now I can finally say with excitement, praise God.
Yes.
Like, thank you, Lord, for the work that you're doing, because you think so much of me.
Hello?
That you're like, I'm so committed to your process of you being the masterpiece that it's not time yet.
Preach.
And so that way, when the man of God comes, he will have to be the one who can steward the masterpiece well, and me with him as well, right? But now it's like, oh, I don't have to keep looking at all these men around me like, oh, well, he doesn't have this and he doesn't have that. It's like, no, the one that God says can steward his investments, because that's what he does when he's sanctifying. Those are investments.
Come on.
So when the Lord invests, he's not like, oh, let me go throw it to somebody else who can't handle the investment. He wants a return. He wants to make sure that the person... Anyway, y'all, I'm passionate about this.
We'll do the other topic next time. Go ahead and cook.
Yeah, I'm passionate about this.
there.
But I've been praying that. I'm like, just even for myself, Lord, I pray that you would get the return on your investment. As much as it is possible. Every investment that you have put in me from childhood to now, let not one fall to the ground and be dead. Let it all bear much fruit, right? So if that's my prayer, if that's what God is already doing, because he wants to make sure that he completes the work, completes the masterpiece, right, unto his glory, then he's not going to bring some dusty man. Dusty, who does not know how to handle the masterpiece well, right? And so, to that point of the double-edged sword, sis, just know that you're worthy of the process, okay? Know that you're worthy of being perfected as the masterpiece, and when the time comes, he'll have the person who can steward you well.
And pray you have discernment, because a lot of
and
people
discernment
miss
of spirits, both of them.
Absolutely
that.
Ones. And ultimately, I think one of the things that I started off with that really jacked me up was this entitlement, this expectation that because I've abstained, because I have kept myself and I've been obedient. I've been the good girl. I followed, the Lord, right? Because I have done that, I'm about to get everything I want, the way I want it, when I want it, how I want it.
Not true.
And the Lord jacked all that up. He was like, yeah, that's what you thought, but I'm going to show you who I really am and what I really have for you, right? And so now it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm about to be 31, so
that's young,
in different
queen.
territory.
That's young.
But I thought I would be married by now.
That's
the
wrong.
kicker.
You thought wrong.
Right,
And as
exactly.
I mature in Christ, I don't even want to think for myself no more.
Period.
Because it's these thoughts.
Yeah.
I create movies in my mind, as Jerry Flowers said, and I will respond based on my own narrative.
Yes.
And let me just tell you something, like it is TUFF tough.
Yeah.
To build your own foundation in the Lord. It's hard to be the sacrificial lamb. Even Jesus himself was like, God, you sure about this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you sure this is what you want? Like for me, my mother, was a parented alone, you know what I mean? And she was and I think that there's, and really quickly, I want women to stop saying you a single mother if he take care of his kid. You know what I'm saying? Y'all may not be together, but if he is taking care of his child, you are not a single mother. My mama was a single mama. My daddy didn't do nothing for me, and after the age of whenever that relationship deteriorated before I was 5 years old, that's a single mother.
Yeah.
There's a difference between you parent alone Monday through Friday. Yeah. But if you can call that man at the drop of a dime and he gonna be there to take care of them kids, you are not a single parent. Y'all just aren't together.
Right.
So I just needed to get that out my spirit real quick. But what I wanted to say is that it's tough being the sacrificial lamb. Yeah. It is tough being the person that is not doing the things and walking. It's a walk with Jesus. And when you're walking with someone, hold my hand. It's a steady pace. You know what I'm saying? It's not a sprint. That's why the word says the race ain't for the swift. You know what I'm saying? It's not a sprint. It's a walk. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If he stumbles, I got to stand right here and help him pick himself up. You know, and that is what Jesus does on a daily. Thank you. Your hands are soft. And, but not in no, you know what I'm saying, type of way. But it's nice hands. I'm notorious happy. But I said all that to say, like, it's tough. It's tough being the person to build the house with the Lord for other people to stand in. Yeah. You know, and as a woman, right? And I can speak to us and to our hearts, and I can also speak to the black men here, not to bring up a race thing. I don't know how they operate in other households though.
Right.
Black women be the glue, cuz. You know what I'm saying? Like, we be more in the word than the men most of the time. You know what I'm saying? We're the ones that's trying to change the narrative oftentimes of the family, because when when the man and the father put a seed in the woman, and I pray you ladies get to experience this, it changes a woman. You know what I'm saying? My children have changed me in a way that is nothing that God could do. And so I said all that to say is just that, you know, when you are walking with Christ, to both of y'all's points, and I applaud y'all. Y'all are both beautiful, and I pray if wifehood is what you desire, that the Lord will honor that. Just know that it is a dying to self every day to follow God, whether you single, whether you married, whether your box can't be controlled, whether it's tamed, you know what I'm saying? Whether you cussing people out, it don't matter. Like, it is a walk every single day, and God honors, and that's why he said God judges the heart, because even though you will slip and fall on your walk, your intention is to get to your destination, and the Father, he honors that.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Wow. And just that was so good. And I think just to close out my little thought, my little spiel too, to the question or the point that was made, I think just the thing that God is showing me is, like, Jesus being the prize, ultimately, him, like, are you good enough for me, or is it what comes from your hand? You know, that's the thing. Because I keep praying that. I'm like, Lord, if I'm not married, and this is a recent prayer, I just got there, God help to sustain it. But if I'm still not married at 35, I pray that I would still find peace and joy and satisfaction in the Lord.
Amen.
And that there wouldn't be this bitterness and this, you didn't do what you said you would do, right? Because if he's the prize, if it's for his glory, if the goal is for me to be at his feet, to sit and inquire in his temple, okay, to behold the glory and his goodness and his beauty, if that's it, then like that has to be enough. And so I think just praying for that, because that's not an easy place to arrive to or to sustain. It's by the Spirit.
Literally.
And I think asking for that, because the one thing, this is the last thing I'll say, that I have come to see is everything, chaos, suffering, hardship, that's all promise. That's consistent. The one thing that we can ask God for that will sustain us through all of that is to be mindful of his goodness, of his character, that he is peace in the midst of the chaos. So it's like, for me to keep asking for circumstances, yeah, that's fine. But ultimately, can we ask him, Lord, just let me know your goodness in every season? Regardless, just let me know your goodness, because everything else can fall, everything else can cave in. But if I can just hold on to your hand and see you rightly, that's what matters. And so that would be my encouragement, because we don't know what life be doing.
LJ says, sorry I prolonged this part. No, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for that question, because I think we got to where we were supposed to get to.
Yeah.
I just want to encourage all the ladies in the room and everybody watching. God sees your sacrifice. He sees your pursuit of him. I know this is hard, and I think even for guys that are listening that have been committed, you know, me and Ryan and Jeremiah used to lament, oh, we're single and nobody wants us and all that.
They did. I was there.
We didn't feel it. I guarantee you that. We didn't feel it. But one thing is, if you're faithful to God, it may not turn out exactly the way you want. But you have to decide in your heart, are you doing this because you're expecting the result that you want? Because if you are, then you're going to be bitter. You're going to be angry with God. You're going to be angry at everybody. And you're going to quit. And you're just going to run through the whole world, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
If you're doing it because you really genuinely want to get closer to him and you're putting him before your own desire, if he blesses you with a marriage, if he blesses you with kids and all that, that's bonus on top of what you actually get. You get him either way. And that's why I harp on the guys so much, because I'm just so disappointed, honestly. And I know the guys are getting mad at me, because there are a lot of great guys out there that are overlooked by some of y'all.
They consider it to be lame.
We got 5'3" kings out there.
Some of our guys are out there that they're getting overlooked. So I just want to put that out there. But overwhelmingly, the guys that we come across, I would not recommend to my sisters in Christ. So that's why I keep imploring y'all, go deeper, because they're waiting for you. There's literally awesome women that are waiting for you to get yourself together. And that's why we grind this stuff out, because there's some errors on the women's side, there's some errors on the men's side, and we're just trying to grind it till we get it right. But we need the men to step up. We gotta have men that are reliable, trustworthy, that can be counted on. Sure. And it takes accountability. It takes being in a community where guys could call you out and say, "Hey, what about this? What about this?" That's how we did. That's what we did for each other. And I pray you could find that in your community as well.
And it was great, because as someone who knew them before they got married, right? I would have friends, as we all say, it's like, there ain't no good guys out there. And I would be like, I know some. You know what I mean? I know some, but where they are in their heart, I don't know if you would be right for them. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That part.
I don't know if you would be right for them. And literally every time I would see them, I would say, y'all dating somebody? Y'all dating? Because it was a conversation. They were transparent. No, not dating. Baby, Ryan came to me. I met somebody. The next day, Ryan came back and said, I'm getting married. and then, not to be outdone, a week later, Sean came back and was like, I met somebody.
Amen.
And then the next day, he came back and was like, I'm getting married.
Lord, I've seen what you've done for others.
It happened.
Right, come on now.
And it
Seen it, Lord. I'm hearing the testimony.
like that. And so a lot of women would consider my husband to be a lame. He likes Sean and Jeremiah and Ryan. And I don't. But God in his goodness planted in me a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? Like
as long as Candy doesn't consider him a lame.
Yeah.
That's what we
God in his goodness.
He's
not. God in his goodness planted in me a long time ago, growing up in my single mother home, that this ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't how it's supposed to be. And meeting John was the first man that said, I want responsibility for you, no matter how you come. I'm not really interested in these particular qualities, and I respect you. And he never tried to change me. And he kept his integrity. That's not to say that I have agreed with everything along the way, because, you know, we're also culturally different, spiritually, physically, mentally, and culturally too. But he's never tried to change me. And I liken that to Orion and Ashan. So hold fast, queens, because they're out there. But I had discernment when I walked in that studio and saw John. The first thing I looked at, I said, he cute, where his ring at? And the Lord said, he ain't one. Now, there has been a lot of growth.
Yeah, even after you get
in
it.
And that's why people get divorced, because you don't stop growing just because you're married. And sometimes, and oftentimes, seasons are imbalanced. That's why two are now one, because right now where I am spiritually, it's different than where my husband is, but we're both believers. And one day he's going to have to carry my torch across the finish line, you know, because I've experienced life more than he has in a different way. I've birthed children. I've experienced tragic loss. I've walked away from my almost 6-figure corporate job to be a stay-at-home mom. That's you know what I'm saying? Coming from a single mother to now have to fully financially depend on a man, even though I'm married, that wasn't what was up for me. You know what I'm saying? So I said all that to say, back to my original point, is that great godly men are out there, and they may not come across. I've never seen these men be other than who they are. I've never seen them put on. Sean is a completely different person off of this radio show. He's more to himself. He's more, you know, introspective. You know, he don't talk a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really got to know him. Ryan is Ryan. You know what I'm saying? In a positive way. And Jeremiah's kind of more so like a Sean. He'll talk and stuff like that, but he's also introspective. So that's why I say women have discernment. Because if you're also on your walk with Christ, but expecting a real godly man to show up, you know, in the life, you might be missing your mark. Not y'all. I'm just looking at y'all because we women. You might be missing your mark. But y'all not lame. And I didn't build my man.
You good.
Up, you know what I'm saying?
You good. You said it.
All right. So
that was good though.
I'm glad I waited. Thank you for the question, Miracle. Everybody in here. Thank you guys for what you said. That was awesome. I'm going to turn it over to you. We'll do the topics that we skipped next week. I promise. Oh, okay. But I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Man. It was bobbing. We good. It was good. It was good, man. Man, that was really good. And it was like, y'all ain't talking. Yeah, they saying some good stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Y'all are so smart, and I pray that the Lord blesses you all with a man of the same. Now, I haven't met you yet, James, but you seem like a wonderful man. But I pray that the Lord blesses y'all with the same caliber and integrity and heart as these men in here, because I know y'all been around them, but they have been consistent brothers. I mean, I cannot tell you anything how they've changed in the 15 years that I've known them. They have been consistently kind, consistently willing to help out. I've never heard either of them cuss. You know what I'm saying? I've never seen them get mad like that. I've seen, like, you know, they might get a little frustrated about something, but just the character. And they genuinely love Jesus Christ. And I pray that the Lord blesses y'all with a man of that kind of caliber and integrity. And I believe that he will. He may not be black, though. You know what I'm saying? He may not be black.
There it is.
I'm open now. Do you love Jesus? I'm open.
Keep your eyes open, queen. Why are you looking at me, girl? Why you eyes open?
Jeremiah, remember I asked you to make clips?
I used to be blackity black, but now I'm open. Kingdom.
We got to it. We finally got to it.
discernment.
Amen.
That's that discernment. You know, you might be waiting a long time. You might be in that fire a long time
That
waiting
part.
on a brother.
I'm ready to get out. I'm ready to be out the fire.
Get you a little Latino. Don't get you a little Asian, but get you a LA Asian because they kind of cooler than all the rest. They got some swag in LA. You know, they got some
So
swag.
Candy is back.
Crispy, she ain't talking about you.
Go get you a
We gonna give them the
Jaguar.
black wife challenge.
So
We
Candy
gonna
is
get them
back.
all up like
Exactly.
TikTok.
Hey, them white boys got some soul in them with that black wife. Don't get you one of them. You know? As long as he
The
believes
kingdom
in the
is
Lord.
multicultural.
The kingdom is
multicultural.
at hand. God don't no favor among men, so it don't matter. You know?
All right, Jeremiah.